Hello, this is Matt Bergman, and you are listening to the Punk Rock Libertarians Podcast, episode 83. I'm here tonight with Jared Schneiderman.
Hey, guys.
And Josh Stavolopagus.
What's going on?
What's up, dog?
What's up?
So, we first, I think we have a message from Baby Captain Gerbil's.
Yeah, man.
He's got some important information.
I just
for
want
everybody.
to remind everybody, if you really want to, if you like the podcast, you listen to us before, you like what we do, please drop us a review on iTunes, because when we get some reviews on there, it gets the podcast to show up higher in their rankings, and it just makes us more visible, so we can get more people to listen. So
yeah, in essence, it gets bigger when you rub it.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay,
it's
cool.
like the Johnson.
And if you don't like the podcast, you can suck my nuts.
You can fuck off.
No.
Suck my nuts. Is that another Walking Dead reference?
Yeah, it was. I used it last week, and I wanted to use it again this week because I've still got that in my mind. And I'm hoping to like wrap this up so we can go watch the new episode as it comes on. Yeah. So that would be cool,
dude. Whoa.
Yeah, dude. Did you just spoil it again like 2 weeks in a row, dude?
Some guy complained. He's like, "You guys ruined Walking Dead for me. Unfollow." I was like, "Well,
yeah, with
bye."
our meme. Wow. Okay.
Like, dude, really? It's fucking TV. Oh, you ruined something that is already a comic that everybody already knows.
Yeah.
But is that aspect of it part of the comic? Because I know that the comic branches off from the film, or rather the TV show branches off from the film. Or, God damn it, the TV show branches off from the comic book.
From the comic book, yeah. But here's the thing. Glenn was killed by Negan that exact way. Those exact shots were the exact drawings. Down to the frame. But
it was early on, right? It was like early on in the book.
I don't even remember if it was early on in the book. I just know that it was exact. I mean, down to the shots from the frames right out of the comic, to Glenn's wound, to the dent in the head and the eye hanging out. And
all right, I still haven't seen it, so don't spoil it.
Oh fuck.
Oh, I'm sorry, Baby Cap.
Yeah. Oh Jesus, man, you could have told me.
Yeah, so like me and Jared, we got together early today. We were just we're out shopping for basically bar stools, or I think what we're looking for are like drafting chairs, because we're looking into we're working on making a studio so we can start posting the podcast live streaming to both Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah.
We want it to be a little more professional.
Yeah, so we'll be doing this on Sunday nights. Hopefully in the near future we'll get this done. So we're just looking at all the things that we need to purchase to make this happen, between GoPro, lighting, and everything else, and getting the set ready for this. So we spent the vast majority of our day looking into that today.
Yeah. So yeah, that's coming down the pipeline. So be ready for that shit.
Shit's coming.
All right, let's get into some news. So, what are you doing?
I'm trying to make us a Snapchat account. God damn it! So people, we can bring this shit live as
it's very
it happens.
distracting when I hear myself.
A few
seconds after I hear myself.
I didn't lower it down quick enough. My bad. I thought I did.
So, anyways, all right. So. First up, we've got the Pence plane near accident that occurred.
My favorite.
Go on.
So I don't even know. New York, God, I love New York. Even that was the only time Mike Pence's plane is landing, and it skid when it hit the runway, and it skid off, and obviously didn't land properly. Mm-hmm. The one time I think where majority of people could have said, God, I really fucking hate the roads. It's the first time people might have been able to say that, because I
don't get that though.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why would you hate the roads?
Because
because he didn't die? Or?
Yeah, pretty much is what everybody was saying. Come on, man. If people were asking, there was jokes flying around the second this shit happened. Like, what did Mike Pence just now suddenly forget about Hillary? Because his plane crashed and he didn't die. He almost got suicided. Like, people were making fun of the fact that
that he survived.
This is a mysterious fucking goddamn election. I mean, it's surrounded by fucking lies, deceit, death, money laundering.
Yeah, I'm actually of the mindset that Pence is worse than Trump.
Pence is dangerous. Pence is absolutely fucking dangerous. I think he's more dangerous than Trump because when Mike Pence was asked, what do you place, how do you rank, what you do in your life, and he placed he's like, first he said, I am a Christian, I'm a conservative, then I'm a Republican. He made it very, very, very clear that his entire conscience was drawn by was.
So he's like basically just like a Christian right neoconservative.
Exactly.
I mean, that really doesn't threaten me, and I don't believe him because I think if he was a Christian, he wouldn't be such a hawk as far as foreign policy. So
I don't know. You know what? No, I
not if you take the neocon approach, which is essentially bring about the return of Jesus. Like that's their main goal, right?
I have to disagree. I have to disagree with you on that because you know what? Majority of people I know that are really good Christians would side with these candidates because pacifism isn't something that's American. This is not the American breed of Christianity is to be pacifist and to actually be.
Dude, I don't think they're good Christians.
No, well, I'm thinking.
I don't think
you're
really
going to
really
get a good Christian or ever in office, one that's like you can say politically is Christian, because I think if you're Christian, you may have your beliefs, but I think to be honestly truly Christian is to have a very, very accepting, almost libertarian, dare I say, mindset. And I don't think modern Christianity is about that.
You can be whatever. The thing about the Bible is you can be whatever kind of Christian you want to be because the Bible is so contradictory. And you can pull verses out that will back up any type of behavior.
I was raised born again Christian, and even though a lot of the things that I disagree on with my parents is like minor. I mean, it's always like about like taxation or some shit like that. It's never anything, I don't know. It's never anything that would conflict with my own beliefs. Like it's never socially. My parents don't really talk about gay marriage because I don't really think it matters to them. I think my parents have that understanding of separation of church and state. I don't think majority of Christians do not have that type of mindset. They don't. They do not, because if they're the ones that'll say, this is a Christian nation. We were founded on, we were founded by Christians. Not true. Technically not true. I mean, there are deists and atheists that are among...
weren't the Pilgrims Christians?
Were the Pilgrims Christian?
Weren't the Pilgrims Protestants?
Pilgrims are Protestants, and they were... I don't even remember the exact fucking reasons why they even showed up here. But,
I thought it was religious freedom.
Well, yeah, I know it was for religious freedom, but I don't know what it was that they did that conflicted with...
And then many of the founders, as far as 1776, were actually deist. So,
majority, most of them were.
Which is basically like a non-religion.
I mean, it's just a belief in a higher power, but you believe in a non-interventionist creator.
Yeah.
And that basically the world adheres to natural law, that all things happen because they are made able to happen. Nothing is by some type of omnipotent
I think
influence.
But in my belief, or not my belief, but I'm willing to bet that the people that actually call themselves deists were really just atheists, but it was just so frowned upon to call yourself an atheist that it's like, well, I still believe in God. I don't believe he has any impact on everyday life or does miracles or does anything supernatural. He just created the world and then that's it.
I mean, I think that there's the other aspect of deism is that God doesn't intervene in your life unless you request it. So it's voluntary. You have to voluntarily ask for influence for it to happen. I
don't think that's deism though.
No, there's also that God only will have as much of an active role in your life as you request him to. He doesn't look upon it any differently. But if a person wants to be active, have that type of, be devout in their belief, that they're able to.
Yeah, that's fine.
It just tends to be more philosophically, but. I mean, I at one point think I identified as a deist. I don't anymore, but I at one point did. I think that the further and further, I don't even really know what the hell I am anymore. I used to more or less identify with being a deist or agnostic or, a lot of the times atheist, but I don't know what I am at this point. It's just because I almost feel that saying I'm atheist is very against science, because science allows for things to change, and atheism is about absolutes.
Some forms of atheism.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing like with some forms of Satanism are insane, and then other forms are just pretty much atheists.
Yeah.
Which, the church of like LaVeyan Satanism is atheism.
Well, yeah. It's just like a commentary on the Bible, essentially.
Yeah. But that's probably one reason why I really do think Mike Pence is more dangerous, because he's identified with being religious first.
Yeah.
And that bothers me. I mean, the religious people don't bother me. I mean, I know very, 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 very devout people, but they all say, my religion's for me, not for anyone else. So, you know what? I will vote how people want me to vote.
Yeah. I'm always troubled by it, but...
You're troubled by religious people?
Well, I'm troubled, not religious people,
am.
but like religious politicians that want to make their politics about religion.
Well, I mean, don't people make their politics about them, and if religion's a part of you, you're gonna. I mean, I'm not. I get troubled by.
Well, look,
I get troubled by it when you want to force your religion.
Right.
When you want to force
but
anything.
That's
on
what I'm
anybody.
saying. Like, yes, I mean, like Ron Paul was a Christian, but he wasn't like, well, I need to like force everybody to be Christian,
Yeah,
or
but
I need to force everybody to like.
Yeah, but I mean,
abide by Christian law.
He was about the golden rule, I mean,
he was about the golden rule.
This is what I mean. Like, that's what I mean when I'm saying like what a real Christian is. A real Christian is a person that just adheres to their beliefs for them.
I mean, but I don't believe that there's a term called real Christian. I mean, that's what that's what your ideal Christian is. But like for some people, that's not what Christianity is.
Yeah, well then,
because like I said, you can pretty much cherry pick whatever you want out of the Bible and justify pretty much.
No, I'm saying
pretty much anything.
This is for the majority of the religious right, who tend to be fundamentalist, which means, fundamentalist Christian as far as in their values, that they believe the Bible is literal. It's literal. It doesn't change. It's real. It happened. Why does obeying any of Jesus' teachings about being more accepting do they need?
Huh?
So what else do people need to see that, like, if they are devout in the sense that they believe that it is the literal word of God, and the way Jesus acts in these, in the Bible is the way people should act, why don't they do that more? Like, that's why I think the whole religious right is a sham, because they're very, very not like Christ at all. So I don't see them as, valid.
That's fair. I
mean,
mean,
I'm not saying
I'm just talking about practically speaking. When I hear like a politician get up there and he says, my number one thing is being, is Christianity or whatever, I'm just immediately going to be skeptical of this guy.
Pretty much.
I mean, if he was like, my number one thing is the golden rule, which I get from my Christian values, then I'm like, okay, then I can get behind this guy. But
he's pulling the philosophy from the religion. Yeah. That's absolutely why I can get behind that.
That's
100%.
fine. I'm okay with that. That's fine. All right. So yeah, Pence. Yeah, he's pretty frightening. I mean, is he more frightening than Trump? I don't know. It's like, because with Trump, you just don't know. You don't know what you're going to get.
But still, Trump has preached pretty non-interventionist in a lot of ways. He's criticized going into Iraq, and then whereas with Mike Pence, he's said out front, he wants to base his vice presidency off of, or model it off of Dick Cheney.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the fuck? And then what kind of crack are you smoking?
Who fucking says that looking to get votes from anyone? Who cares, right or left? I mean, everybody
there's still
thought
people
Dick
that
Cheney
are like
was insane.
There are a lot of people that are getting nostalgic for the Bush years.
Like a lot of people
he's the top, a
lot of like the right.
George Bush is the toxic boyfriend that looks really good once you see what's out there. Like, America is like a battered woman.
Yeah.
We're just like, well, you know what? He's so much more fucking stable.
it's I've spent the past 8 years pretty much hating Barack Obama. But I mean, there are some things in retrospect. There are little things that happen here and there that I can give him a little credit for. That things that happened under his watch. I think lifting the trade embargo with Cuba was a good thing.
Yep.
I also think just recently I think he freed like 800 or 900 people, like more like nonviolent drug offenders.
Yeah.
So I mean, and I don't have much hope for like Hillary or Trump to like carry on that torch at all.
Yeah.
And it's sad because like as much as I've hated Barry, and I can name a million ways that he sucked. He has done some things where I'm like, well, that's pretty cool out of left field.
Yeah.
And then between Hillary and Trump, I do think Barry's better than Hillary. And, Trump is pretty scary. Not that Barack Obama's foreign policy hasn't been pretty scary, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just, maybe it's just every time. I mean, you're scared of like the assholes that come up. But, I guess what I'm saying is, Barack has, a couple times he has impressed me a little bit. He's done better than I thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He's still done horrible. I think he's taken... Under his watch, the deficits went from I think it was like 8 trillion when he got in to over 20 trillion now.
Mm-hmm.
It's something pretty fucking insane. It's insanely high. I think it's it's doubled more than under Bush. Something like that.
Well,
Deficit?
no, it's actually I believe he's made a larger deficit than all the other presidents combined. Because I mean, like. We're talking like the whole deficit. I don't know what it was when Bush first came in. I doubt it was balanced at all. I'd be curious to figure out the last time it was balanced. But I mean, it was at 8 trillion, which is a fucking.
Wait, are you
lot
talking
of money.
about the debt or the deficit?
Well, yeah, the national debt.
Okay, that's different than the deficit, though. The deficit has to do with like, I believe the deficit is like the yearly.
Like what we take in and what we spend.
Yeah, and then the debt is like basically like how much we owe.
Yeah, I'm talking about the combined national debt.
Okay, yeah.
So,
then yes, he has. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I mean he's taken it from 8 to over 20.
Yeah.
So
which is ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say like who scares me more, Hillary or Trump, because the thing about Trump is like. He just seems to have, a very odd temperament where he's like very childish, and you just wonder how he's going to react, when, on the political stage when he has to like interact with, heads of states from other countries.
Considering he's out of his fucking mind, he's out of his fucking mind.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, I mean, Hillary's fucking terrible and her policies are awful, but.
She's a fucking lizard.
But she at least knows how to, like, glad hand, you know what I mean? Like, she knows how to, like, deal with other politicians and... Yes.
I mean, dude, you can teach an iguana to walk. Trump, you don't know what it is. You don't know what you're going to get. The guy's like he's like a malfunctioning toy.
Yeah.
Where it could blow up or it could be fine. You don't fucking know. Are you willing to chance that?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, but then again, it's like a lot of the stuff is a little bit overblown. Although it also just scares me, like populism. The fact that he's like this populist candidate, where it's like he's just a cult of personality. He's not like, it's not like people are. I mean, I guess some people are getting behind him because of, philosophical alignment, but it seems like more of it is just like. A cult of personality about a guy who doesn't give a fuck.
That should be his fucking
giving a
campaign
finger
song.
Cult of personality.
Yeah, dude. It really is the cult of personality. Come on, that'd be fucking good. I mean, he might. No,
and
that might not be good.
And Living Color should like let him use that.
Right. I feel like if Trump used that song, he might win the election. Never mind, don't use it.
So okay, yeah. Going back to the election though, if you look at the polls, at least. Prior to the other news item we'll get to, of the reopening of the FBI investigation. But prior to that, and, of course, if you look at any of the mainstream media reporting on this, it just looks like Hillary has this clear clear lead. Although since the FBI reopened their investigation, or that too is a weird thing because from what I've read about this, so let me just introduce the topic. So apparently they've started looking at other emails that are pertinent to their initial investigation of Hillary, emails that had to do with fucking Anthony Weiner and his sexting. Apparently,
I heard something about that too.
Which is this whole thing is bizarre, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure we're living in the Matrix.
The memes were dank that day, as we should say.
Yeah, so, but apparently from what I hear, David Comey, who was like the lead guy on that, sort of went behind the back or around the back of the actual, the FBI and reported it. I think he told Congress that he was opening the or he was looking at the emails and they were like, "Oh, dude, what are you doing? You shouldn't have done that." So I don't know if Comey didn't. What are you doing?
What am I doing? I'm trying to record videos of everybody here, man.
Stop.
Why not, man?
So Comey, but it's
trying to increase our fucking digital footprint, motherfucker.
So I guess last time you guys talked about,
are you posting these on Grindr?
Yeah.
Assholes.
So, I mean, I think last time you guys talked about how, everything's rigged for Hillary or whatever, but this sort of seems to go against that narrative because, I mean, this could cost her the election. Unless, of course, none of the counting of the ballots are actually... I don't believe that the rigging goes that deep.
Maybe a cog in the machine has fallen loose.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way it was explained to me was that Comey was
oh, glorious day.
That Comey was, covering his ass... just in case, the Republicans found out about his not looking at these emails later, and then, because they're in charge of the House, they can do something to him. I don't know all the fucking ins and outs of that shit.
Maybe there's pressure from within. Who knows, dude? There could be pressure. People could be pulling strings. Think about it. Let's see. George Bush. George Bush's senior was former director of the FBI. You tell me that motherfucker don't have influence, considering not just he was the director, but he was the president, and his son was the president, and neither of them are endorsing.
Yeah.
Not to mention that his other son was in the race and is also not endorsing. That's way too much fucking political influence for somebody to handle. That's the problem with these agencies. They can bend. If you can put enough political pressure on them, they'll all bend. Every fucking one of them.
Yeah.
Which is funny because if you were easily bendable by some type of pressure someone can put outside, from the outside could put on you, you would not get a security clearance.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would be a potential risk, which means that entire fucking agency, by their own definition, is a fucking risk for existing in the first place.
Yeah. Huh.
I have just proven why the FBI should be completely disbanded.
Did you?
Yeah, that's literally it. If you look at why one person doesn't get a clearance based on how much political leverage or how much leverage can be used against them, they will not give them a clearance.
Okay.
So if the entire agency if there's leverage against an entire fucking agency's existence, they shouldn't exist.
Church.
And state.
But another interesting thing about the polls is that I think it may be that it's very distracting, dude. I think it may be.
Sorry, man. I'm trying to get a beverage.
Do you have any more of those?
One more right here.
So Hillary. It could be that. So I think these polls, and I'm obviously not the first person to bring up this theory, but it's possible that Hillary's polling really high because Trump supporters are kind of afraid to admit that they're Trump supporters. So when these polling agencies call them up, or if they go around in person or whatever, they don't want to admit that they're going to vote for Trump. So they're like, oh yeah, I'll vote for Hillary, yeah. But then when they go into the polls and they close that fucking curtain behind them, they may just pull that lever for Trump.
It's a possibility. I feel like there's a lot more people that are, because of the backlash and how one side's violence against the other is so much more, I guess, allowed these days. I think that people would be surprised to meet the average Trump supporter.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that there are a lot of closet Trump supporters.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
And not to mention the fact that like who the fuck are they using for these polls? Like I've never been asked to take a fucking poll.
Of course.
It's people with
I-
it's people with landlines. It's people that I don't know. Like
it's excluding the largest gap, the largest age group that doesn't support either one.
yeah,
So no, we're not getting polled because anytime they do poll, our age group from like 18 to 36, I think, is the age gap or something. It always comes up with the most moderate. Always comes up with more of a libertarian. Like this year, it's Gary Johnson. We poll higher with him than anyone else.
So yeah, what do you make of like the people that are saying this is not the time for a protest vote?
Any vote, it's a time for a protest vote.
It's really, they say that every election.
Every
election.
How about
every
how about
election.
this? I don't really like the term protest vote. Why is it a protest vote for me to vote for Gary Johnson? Why can't it just be like I like Gary Johnson and
Well, that's what I mean.
I mean, for me, I would say it is a protest vote. I hate the state, and like I'm behind the candidate that's going to whittle it down to be to the smallest, to make it the least threatening to me. Who's going to call for the least robbery of me? Who's going to call for the least military actions / murder around the globe?
I just don't know that.
Going to make the terrorist hate me less.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. But
total
I'm
protest
saying,
vote.
like, why do we need to call it a
I don't think
like
I don't think
protest
we
vote-
I don't think we should even have to call it a protest vote because you're not really protesting anything. You just have your own. That's your own.
I am protesting the system.
I know, but you have your own personal.
Rude and
protesting?
brash.
Like, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how you define it, I guess. But to me, it's like you could vote for Jill Stein and call that a protest vote, but that's not voting.
But you notice
your conscience.
Notice they never mention Jill Stein. The left never really mentions Jill Stein very much as far as
Well, because they know that Jill Stein is only going to pull votes from the left.
Yeah, exactly. But anytime
So they don't want
anyone
they don't want
talks-
Hillary to lose. So they'll
they're
talk about
protesting Johnson.
they'll protest Johnson because they believe that Johnson, although he's probably pulling Hillary votes, is probably pulling more Trump votes than or Republican votes.
I think he's doing pretty well with both, to be honest. But I mean,
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
I almost
who
feel
knows,
like he
but-
would pull more from the liberals because it seems to me that liberals are more concerned with social issues, whereas Republicans are, the right's more concerned with fiscal issues. And Gary Johnson's majority of his platform is social. Let's just be honest. Majority of the platform he runs on is just being socially moderate. And that's, I mean, even though I believe he does comprehend a lot about, fiscal policy, he doesn't need to push that because the age demographic of voters are more concerned with social issues right now. That's where the left vote is social issues. That's
right.
why-
So, his talk on immigration, his talk on the drug war. Yeah, I mean, those things are going to probably resonate with the left more than the right.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, he doesn't really need to talk much about being, conservative. He really doesn't have to pitch his conservatism, his actual fiscal conservatism.
Yeah.
Because those are statistics. So all he really has to do is pitch philosophy, and the left always tended to be a little more philosophical. Even though it wouldn't be.
I don't know about that.
I don't mean like necessarily good philosophical. I mean just philosophical in general. Like it seems like conservatives seem to be more logical and liberals seem to be more philosophical in that aspect. Whereas why I think libertarians are the best mix because we like the philosophy of numbers. We like economics. We love this shit. That's why we're the best fucking party. That's why I think that libertarians is the best voting.
Well, I mean, I'm under the opinion, always been under the opinion, where it's like Republicans and Democrats, they want to get in power and they want to use force to show you how to live. Whereas, like, that's the cool thing I've thought about libertarians. It's like, we're the only party.
Non-denominationally bless you with whatever belief of your choice.
Anyways, we're the only party or philosophy that's basically, just do whatever the fuck you want, just don't hurt anybody, So we're the only party that's not trying to force anything on anybody. It's like the root of our beliefs is eliminating the force.
It's NAP, man. It's non-aggression.
Yep.
Though I feel like for some people, and it's not necessarily bad, but it seems like there's a lot of people who try to like open the umbrella of libertarianism to like spread out over more things. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I love Jeffrey Tucker, right? I mean, he's great, but like some of the stuff he says where it's like, you know, libertarianism means being this and being that and like being more empathetic, and it's like, I mean, I think being more empathetic is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but like to me, like libertarianism is literally just the non-aggression principle.
Well, it's two things. It's first the NAP, and then second it's property rights.
Yes,
It's very close to voluntarism,
it is voluntarism.
but it's libertarianism we're talking about,
Shut the fuck up.
right?
No, it's just a bunch of different words that all mean the same thing.
I don't know. I don't know. I think voluntarist is a little more. I don't know. It's a little more radical.
It's just because no one knows what it means.
Libertarianism is the much more marketable view.
Well, libertarianism is just associated with the party commonly.
Yeah.
I mean,
And-
for the layman walking around the street, they're like, "Oh, you mean the Libertarian Party?"
Yeah.
If they've even heard of the Libertarian Party, you know.
I honestly think this election has probably done a lot for libertarianism. I sadly have to say that these small little gaffes that that Gary's had, I think, did negatively impact our image, but I don't. At the same time, I don't give a fuck about the image of that party at all, because
Yeah.
that's the whole point. Is that, hey, guess what? He's fallible. He's admitted it.
Yeah. The unfortunate thing is that the whole Aleppo gaffe. I mean, regardless of like what you want to say, like whether
They had nothing to. That's the best fucking thing I love about the left and the right. They have nothing to stand on but what is Aleppo. That's the only thing they can
Right,
bring up
and-
when they
and
want to
that's-
criticize him.
yeah, that's fair. But the unfortunate thing about that is it sort of goes to the stereotype that libertarians are isolationist, which is
I love that one too.
which is absolutely retarded because
Which is traditional American. It's a traditional American belief. I mean, fucking George Washington. Do not concern yourself with the affairs of Europe.
yeah, but you're missing my point.
No.
My point is that we're not isolationists. We're not interventionists. Isolationism is like the antithesis of
absolutely.
the free market,
and
because
I really believe that that's probably. I mean, George Washington was non-interventionist. He wouldn't want to hinder trade. I think he means don't.
right.
Yeah,
But-
don't
but-
politically
but-
involve yourself.
But that's the problem is like the two terms, and you even kind of just did it yourself. But the two terms get confabulated together, and so like
confabulated.
and so like
Word.
Well, I think it's kind of like the establishment when describing libertarians like to refer to us as isolationists.
That's what I'm saying. So, like,
when
the
they
fact
couldn't be any
that-
further from the truth. 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, we're talking about free trade. We're talking about more trade.
right, we're talking about
So,
open borders,
we're
free trade,
less
all that shit.
isolationist than they are. I mean, isn't it pretty isolationist to like just want to like bomb everybody? I mean, that's not making friends.
Yeah, in that
how is
sense.
that good diplomacy?
Right. But yeah, it's just unfortunate because the fact that the Aleppo gaffe sort of makes it seem like Gary doesn't understand foreign policy. Even though if you listen to him talk at length about foreign policy, he knows what he's talking about. I mean, he may not be like the foremost expert in it, which he doesn't have to be, but he does have a good. Hold on, let me finish. He does have a good working knowledge, and so like, but it's just the unfortunate thing is like they can look at that thing and be like, look, libertarians are isolationists. They don't want to understand foreign policy at all. They just want to grow capitalism in this country, whatever their weird misconceptions are. But it's just unfortunate that the gaffe happened to concern that topic and not some other thing that whatever, like not being able to
I think the other misconception too is like, if libertarians get into power, you're just gonna have these big corporations take over. The rich people are gonna get way richer, and it's like if that were the case, wouldn't these rich people be putting more money behind the Libertarian Party?
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
When it comes down to it, these
and
rich
their
people
only
are
argument
happy.
is the Koch brothers in 1988. That's
Well,
the only argument they have.
Well, 1980, right? And then these rich people are looking to influence politics, are looking to influence and get regulations in there to stifle out their competition. Whereas, that's exactly what libertarians have been railing against. Like, these rich people really don't want a truly free market.
No, they don't.
They want this cronyism.
Well, yeah, because a free market means there's nothing to stop anyone from doing something.
Wait, say that again?
There's nothing to stop anyone from doing something. I mean, because they control. I mean, by controlling the government, which is what these companies all do with their lobbying, they control whether people can influence the market at all by creating a better product that takes off. Tapping into they buy off markets. I truly believe that they buy off markets. They don't want fucking completely unregulated capitalism. They do not want that.
No.
Because if we drop all the curtains at once, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean the barriers to entry have to be kept high so that they don't have to worry about competition. I mean, it's like you can't really blame. I mean, to an extent, you can blame corporations, but
to another extent, you can't.
You can't because they're trying to survive just like you and me.
They have to play the game. If they don't play it, the other corporation's going to play the game.
Exactly.
And I mean, it sucks. You really need to just tear down the barriers of the game.
Right. I mean, we're all just sort of victims of
the game,
government,
of the game, and the government, and just like the systems that are in place because of the initiation of force. I mean, that's.
You're a victim.
It's like I don't necessarily blame anybody. I mean, yes, the people are responsible for their actions, but it's like I don't see the point in focusing on like the individual cop rather than just the idea of like a state-controlled police force. Like we can spend our time like picking out certain cops and being like, "Oh, this is a bad cop," but it's like what's really going on is just the system. When you have a monopoly over policing and over protection and whatever other services you want to say the police offer, that's what's going to happen. When you have a monopoly, the service is always bad. The price is always too high.
I disagree, though. I think we should shame the cop. I think we should shame the cop who just follows orders and enforces bad laws. Right? I think we should blame that person.
I have to.
Yeah, I agree, but I think.
My brother's a
cop.
Well,
if it's just a matter of like focus.
I'm saying like my brother's a cop.
Well, we should.
My brother's actually he's very, very, very libertarian.
Is he busting people for drugs?
No. Sometimes, unfortunately, based on I can tell you this right now. I mean, I don't know whether he's busting people for drugs or not. I'm just going to base it off the philosophy that I know that he most likely lives by, because I don't want to say over whether. My brother does not arrest drug offenders. I mean, I don't know really what he does, but I just know that him and majority of a lot of other cops that I know, that I'm friends with, or, at one point or another, think that it's a pointless arrest. That somebody, if you're driving under the influence and you're pulled over and you're obviously stoned.
Well, I mean,
it's like they've like, all right, well, it's like alcohol. 9 times out of 10 they're going to say that's
okay. Well, I mean, it's great that these guys think that, but then you're signing up to do a job where the majority of people incarcerated are nonviolent drug offenders. How are they getting in there? How are they?
It's the same thing with running for president. Look at people that run for president and they're good candidates. 99% of the people that held the job that they're applying for are fucking scumbags. I mean, it's. Sometimes they feel they can change the system by tapping into it.
I mean, look, yes.
I don't know if a cop can change the system.
They can influence.
Well, there's law enforcement against
can
prohibition.
Impact an entire fucking community. I'm not going to.
I mean, are you familiar with LEAP?
Yeah.
I mean, those are all cops, and they're all trying to affect change from within.
Yeah, and
I'm
thankful for those people.
There's a cop that I've seen on he has his own fucking YouTube channel. The entire neighborhood. When
I get what you.
So happy
I'm thankful for LEAP, and I'm thankful for the quote unquote good cops, and I
yeah. So I'm saying like one cop can make a difference if you have more and more cops that have like good hearts.
Isn't it kind of like trying to join ISIS and change it from within?
No, I really don't. Because first off, because that wasn't ISIS was created by a group of theocratic, insane people.
Wasn't it like kind of created by the United States government?
They led to the conditions that created it.
I mean, do you have local police?
Well, look,
enforcers?
I'm not saying we should absolve all police of their sins. I'm not saying
No,
that.
neither
What
am
I'm
I.
saying is, like, we can focus on, like, belittling or, like, shaming cops, but I think it's just more effective if we just say, like, look, it's the system, which is allowing these people to get into these positions, allowing bullies to become cops.
Look at the larger...
allowing, like, racists to become cops, allowing stupid people to become cops.
Yeah.
Like, let's...
Focus
and that's
on
not
a larger picture. Focus on changing something you can actually make.
Yeah, just focus on telling people, like, it's
But
not just
also
that.
shame the shit out of those cops. Shame the fuck out of them.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, a cop.
Go right ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, see, the problem
Fuck
is if you
those
start
guys.
shaming the cop and you don't explain why being a cop is wrong in the first place, then all you're doing is you're picking out a few bad apples, and then people can just say, well, all we got to do is just clean up. We just got to clean up the police force instead of just saying no. The police force itself is what's wrong. The idea of a monopoly on violence that is basically the arm of that violence is the police. That's the problem. It isn't the fact that, we need more body cameras and we, or we need, more, just accountability. It's like, no, it's the system is fucked. Like,
We do need more body cameras. I want more cops. I want to watch more cops. Isn't that how they film that? I thought that's how they filmed.
No,
that
they had
now.
a cameraman.
Yeah. They should have a cop channel. You know what? They should do that. How about that shit? What if they had a 24-hour cop channel where all they played was body camera footage?
Yeah, it was random body cameras, and the cop that was doing it had no idea.
And it was live.
Like
it was
all
like
day.
live streaming off his body.
Yeah, you just had like a local cop channel.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
I think that would show some transparency.
I mean, look, in the meantime, because obviously we're not going to abolish the police system tomorrow.
No.
But yeah, in the meantime, I'm all for
Maybe
like
the next
accountability
day.
measures. But I don't know. There's got to be people just have to understand this is what happens when you don't have competition. When you have like laws that are just completely arbitrary and not based on any sort of philosophy. They're just based on fear and misinformation, like that drugs are bad. And, it's like that's the problem. It's not that you have a couple of bad cops. It's the system.
Mm-hmm.
So.
We got a bad system.
We got a bad system, bros.
In the words of Dave Mustaine of Megadeth, the system has failed. It's a great album if you've not listened to it.
I haven't. I haven't listened to a whole lot of Megadeth.
Oh, dude. He's gotten more and more political. If he stayed political in the songs, that would be great. But when he starts talking, when it's on stage, sometimes you just, oh, no, shut up, dude. Because at least it was more interpretable. But when he,
I mean, if it's artistic, if it's like art, it's cool. But if it's like just some dude talking on stage, it's kind of like, shut the fuck up, man.
But when he talks about like how awesome Donald Trump is, and then you notice you have hats being sold at the Megadeth show that say "Make Metal Great Again."
Wait, he's a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's not surprising.
No, but dude, I always really liked Dave.
Dude,
Mustaine,
I saw
too.
my first MAGA hat in person the other day.
You first what?
My first MAGA hat, Make America Great Again hat.
Oh, you saw your first. You call him MAGA?
MAG? Yeah, I mean
MAGA, MAGA.
Where'd you see this?
I saw it
At the synagogue.
We're calling it MAGA. That's the episode name. MAGA hats.
No, I saw him in Westminster at this deli that I go to, this Italian deli. I've seen him around before. He's just some older redneck guy.
Older redneck in an Italian deli.
Yeah,
Well, dude, why don't you go to the Jewish deli, dude? It's kind of
Well, yeah, wait,
because it's fucking Carroll County,
it's kind of
dude.
anti-Semitic, dude.
What is this?
It's fucking Carroll County. There's no fucking
God, an Italian
Jewish
redneck.
delis.
I man, bippity bappity bippity boo.
I mean,
Speak Italian.
you don't even have a fucking double T up there, man. We were supposed to for the longest time.
Westminster sounds so civilized, and then you're like,
Dude, I went to Denny's the other day. It's not that bad.
Denny's.
Yeah.
Denny's is good, man. I
Yeah.
like Denny's.
I used to go all the time when I was little, but like at some point it got kind of like a bad connotation in my mind. But I don't know. Like I went there, the one in Glen Burnie, and I was like, oh, this is decent food, man.
Like, what'd you get, dude? Like the kids' meal?
Yeah. They came with a toy and shit.
No, but like, what'd you get?
Why would you get the kids meal?
I think I got the Grand Slam, like the All-American Grand Slam.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
dude.
Their breakfast food's
Yeah.
decent. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it a Grand Slam or a Slamwich?
It was a Grand Slam. It was
Man.
like eggs, bacon, hash browns.
Man, you got to try the Slamwich.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Is it better than Slam Piece?
Slam piece. See, what's up, my slam piece?
What's up? All my slam pieces out there, holla back.
Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Chicka chicka what?
Baby cat. Baby cat with a booty
About to
hat.
sail away with the slam pieces. All right.
Wow.
So yeah. Apparently, a new video has surfaced. A new propaganda video that shows a bunch of children berating another child of a non-voting adult.
Yeah, so this kid's at the playground, and like this one kid's wearing a shirt, wearing one of the "I voted" stickers that he got from his parent, and this other little kid's like, "Oh, my dad didn't vote," and the kid's like, "Why not?" Well, and the kid's like, "Well, on Tuesdays, my dad goes to the gym, so." And then like all these kids, like every kid on the playground starts ripping into this kid because his dad didn't vote.
I thought we were trying to get rid of bullying in this society.
Exactly, yeah. It's the same progressives that want to get rid of bullying create this video of, all the statist children bullying the child whose parent didn't vote.
Oh man, progressives are the worst. Or like at least like the fake progressives, not like the actual people that want to
Yeah, I
move
mean,
us away from slavery.
oh, totally, man, totally. Oh shit. Yeah, like, did you see that other video like earlier this week where it's basically like Hillary was called on tape in 2006 saying that we should have rigged the Palestinian election?
Yeah, I watched it a little bit.
Yeah, so like I have this friend who's like commenting on it. Like I threw up an article really quick, and I had this friend who was commenting on it. Like, it's basically like all these liberals were saying, well, that's not what happened, and it's basically like, okay, well, there's a recording of it, and where Hillary's suggesting it, and also there's a transcript of it in the article. It's like, how could you say that is not what it is?
What was their
My
like?
God, they're such
What was their reasoning?
I mean, it's everybody's reasoning, man. It's like people are getting sick of hearing about the fucking the
liberals.
50,000 emails now that WikiLeaks has. Like, or I believe I know they put out at least 30-some thousand, but apparently, according to Assange, they have about 50,000 of Hillary's emails.
Yeah, they have more. They're about to drop.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so excited.
Oh my God, man! Oh,
And
dude, this
the
is
liberals
so
are
good.
saying like they don't want to hear about it. I think somebody said, I think it was Bill Maher Bill Maher said that Hillary could have John Benet Ramsey in her basement and he wouldn't care.
And who wouldn't
and
care?
he wouldn't care.
Bill Maher said that Hillary Clinton could have John Benet Ramsey in her basement, and he's still going to vote for Donald. He's still not going to vote for Donald Trump. But I mean, okay, well that doesn't mean vote for Donald Trump. It just means don't fucking vote for Hillary. There are plenty of other fucking candidates,
Yeah.
I mean, D's
No,
Nuts was running. I mean,
I
there's-
don't. I don't.
Evan McMillan.
I don't. Bill Maher disappoints me.
it's funny. What do you?
Bill Maher is such a fucking disappointment.
Yes, he is. He's a total disappointment.
Yeah, there was a really cool article that one of our fans wrote for the Daily Liberator. It was called "Bill Maher Cog in the Machine," and basically it was just expressing, he was expressing his disappointment that, Bill Maher. I mean, he's just instead of just being like an independent comic that's just, ripping into the system like he sometimes does.
I 10%
He's
of the time
like-
I actually like him a lot.
Yeah, but then like he'll just lapdog for the left on certain things, and it's like.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like, why can't you just?
He's
why are you
there for
doing
he's
this?
there for the left when they need him.
Yeah, but then again, he's also been like sort
He's
of.
there for when they need him.
He's also gone against like the regressives on some things, like on like Islam and other things like that. But yeah, I don't know. This whole thing with him and I think he's ripped on Gary Johnson. I think he's ripped on like voting third party.
Yeah,
know.
it's funny though. There's that video from the '90s where Bill Maher might not remember because he smoked a lot of weed, where he says that Gary Johnson's his favorite governor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because in '99, Gary Johnson was proposing marijuana legalization, marijuana decriminalization. He was talking about the drug war when no Democrat would even touch it, and you've got a Republican governor from New Mexico on the topic. And that is when I really wish Johnson would have ran for president like sooner. You know what I mean? When he had all of his wits about him.
When he was sharper.
Like in this election, like I don't want to blame it on weed, but he's just doofused out some. You know, I mean, I get.
And his speech just
even
sounds
while
like.
I'm saying that. Well, I'm saying that, I still say like I fucking love Gary Johnson. I love him. I think he's a great guy.
You'd put in his pooper, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Maybe. No, but
he was a guest on this podcast.
yeah, I mean,
he really was.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I think Johnson rocks. You know, it's a shame too because like there are plenty of reasons to give the man good press. I will say it's unfair that the media just like they just bring him up. You know, when you have the Aleppo moment. And then they really just they just
and that's
take
all
it
the
out of
ammunition
control.
they even have over him. That's the only
There's
thing
that,
negative they can say.
Well, there's that like the world leader thing.
Where's
but he was saying, "Oh well, fuck. I guess I'm having an Aleppo moment."
Yeah.
Who says that on purpose? I mean,
Well,
it was
I kind of feel like maybe he thought like, oh, this will be good because the Aleppo movement actually got me higher in the polls, and it did. But you don't want to have too many of those.
No. I think he's joking. But
the Aleppo movement got him higher in the polls because it got people talking about him, and then people heard about him for the first time and researched him,
and then
they're like, wow, we actually,
and then his popularity fucking increased.
Right, but yeah, you can't keep milking that cow too many times.
I know, but I mean, if he would, that's what I mean. Like, he is a little too burnt. I think if he just followed through with a really good libertarian answer as to why I can't think.
And it's also like
he could have just said, you know what, fuck it. You know why I can't think of a good goddamn world leader I'd like? Because I don't fucking like any.
I also just think it might just be because he's getting older, but like his speech has definitely gotten more, I guess, slower or more just like he kind of trips over his words more than he did. Like if you watch his speeches from, back in like the governorship days or like even like the first election, he definitely sounds more clear and more like under control. And this one, it seems like he still knows what he's talking about. And I'm not saying it would have any.
I think all people age like that. I mean,
I'm not saying it has to do with weed. I'm just saying like it is what it is. I mean, even Ron Paul, like when he talks, he's not the best speaker. He was definitely a lot more sharp when he was younger.
He's not the best speaker, but he at least he had the message.
He had the message. He was able to articulate it.
Yeah, but you know what, though, man? Ron Paul in the early days.
You want to say Ron Perot?
Ron Perot. I would say Ron Perlman. I don't even know why.
Ron Perlman.
Yeah,
hey, dude, have you guys been following? We didn't have this in our outline, so I'm going to diverge a little bit.
That's cool, man.
Have you been following Kokesh? Have you been following Adam Kokesh at all this week?
Oh, that whole like sex contract thing.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So what is the contract exactly? I know that there was a contract.
All right. So the first I saw of it was like Being Libertarian posted an article, and it was basically back when Adam Kokesh was like, I think when he was like campaigning or whatever, he had a girlfriend and like
Fiance Macy Tomlin.
And he allegedly made her sign this contract that had all these things like that you would like, because I guess she was like also like a campaign worker, and it was like all these things that had to do with the campaign, and then like there were other little things like will perform sexual favors upon request and like other shit like that like thrown in there. And then like Being Libertarian was trying to get a few clicks, so like they published this article and like made it seem like Adam forced her to like sign this or whatever. But then like Adam immediately posted something. He's like, no, that's not what happened. What happened was I was going to break up with her. And so like to sort of like, try to get me to stay with her, she like printed up this contract and signed it and gave it to me like a gift kind of thing, like, or like a little like, please don't leave me, like up, And so now but then he ended up breaking up with her.
Oh.
And now she's like using it and trying to like blackmail him, or not blackmail him, but like throw him under the bus with it.
I don't know. I mean,
what is she gonna get? What the fuck is she gonna get?
Did you watch Macy Tomlin's video? I watched it as she was live streaming it to Facebook. where she was like basically introducing people to the real Adam Kokesh, I think is what it was called. Did you watch that?
No.
I mean, is there a documentary on this or some shit?
No, well, there's a video. You know, yeah.
I mean, look, I can see Adam Kokesh being an asshole. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he definitely comes off that way.
Dude, this is crazy though, man. This is the first time I can see like a behind the scenes fucking video on a person that I actually know, like that I've met before and hung out with.
Like it sounded like he was a huge, like gigantic dick to his fiance. One of the things was like he was pressuring her into a three-way. And then so apparently he gets this three-way going with, according to her, a girl that was barely 18. And, you know, Kokesh is like 35. And so he gets this three-way going with a girl that's like barely 18. And then, you know, the girlfriend didn't want to do it at all. And then he kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And then finally she was like, fine. And then they do it. And of course, she sees, you know, Kokesh making love to this girl, and she gets jealous. Of course, that's what's going to happen. That's just classic, like why you don't want to do a three-way typically.
Yeah, at least not with like your girlfriend.
Wait, so he's
not with
banging
somebody that you care about.
Yeah. He's banging some 18-year-old girl.
So then, you know, his fiance is upset, and then Kokesh, according to her, says, "It's like you just gave me like a Ferrari for my birthday, and then you scratched it up."
Wow.
Like that was his response. So and then Kokesh's like campaign, apparently a bunch of people just quit the day before she released this video.
Yeah,
like a bunch of other people were fed up with him because and apparently when she was working with him, she was doing like all the driving like all around the country, and she was doing like all of his bitch work, and he would give her a $40 a week allowance.
What?
Yeah, and then apparently she had projects that she wanted to do as far as activism and stuff, and Kokesh said, "Well, you'll get to do them after this." And then when that was done, like she didn't get to do them. I mean, it was just basically like she was
such political bullshit. That's something that Slimebag would do.
Yeah, I mean, like it kind of seems like Kokesh like wants these like little cult lackeys to do his dirty work, and you know I know some other people.
Sounds like a Democrat.
I mean, I know some other people that work with them, and I haven't heard good things. I'm not going to name any names because, you know, like some of the people that I do know, I feel like they respect the work that he does for Liberty, but they don't like him as a person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whereas
it would
like
seem as such.
I'll be honest. When I met him, I did sense like a little bit of coldness.
Like he was getting he at some point he definitely got an ego.
Yeah.
Like when Adam versus the Man was on RT, I was so psyched. I would watch it every day. I was like, well, this is the best thing to ever happen to television. I mean, it was so amazing. But yeah, like at some point, you know, he definitely his ego, I think, got carried away. You know.
Yeah. So you believe what she's saying then?
I think, you know, you've got two sides to every story, and in general, the truth is somewhere in between. But you know, I don't see any reason to say that she's lying. And you know, and then like I said, like the day before, this other dude was this other dude who was on the Kokesh campaign, who was basically doing all of Adam's bitch work. Apparently, this guy was doing like all of Adam's bitch work. He was like, apparently one time he woke Adam up at like 1:00 in the afternoon to tell, because they had to be at an event by 6:00.
Yeah. And
then Adam Kokesh threatened to like fire him and make him walk home or something. You know, for just waking him up and helping him get to these places on time. You know what I mean?
Why would a person do that?
Well, my question is why are these people sticking with this campaign if he's such a dickhead?
I mean, they're not.
You're not being forced.
It seems like eventually, you know, they've had a breaking point. You know, along with his fiance, this other dude, and apparently some other people. But it's I don't know. I mean, like I was talking with a buddy about it the other day. I'm not sure he wants me to give out his name, and I mean, I just couldn't. You know, I couldn't support Kokesh for president. I mean, I just think like for a while now he's just been coming off. He's just been coming off as not a nice guy.
Yeah,
you know?
he's just egotistical.
I don't think he's the best spokesperson. I think we could find somebody better.
Dude, you know what I found when I've Googled him? I've gone on like this deep cycle Google, like you know,
a rabbit hole.
This crazy
Google.
I've gone like on this like really searching around, like, you know, on the Liberty movement, you know.
Okay.
And I found some like pictures of Adam Kokesh, But here's the funniest thing is,
Are they naked?
no. They're propaganda pictures of him by a Nazi group that shows basically saying that Adam is a Jew.
Yeah.
And that he is a tool of Zionist and leftists, like Bolsheviks, shit like that. Like it's ridiculous.
I saw that. I think he even like posted some of those pictures on his Facebook while just like belittle them.
I don't even know, but man, I don't even know. I was just when I saw that, I was dying.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just people being anti-Semitic.
Like it was just hysterical to me that like this is like I thought we were fucking low key. Apparently we got fucking what? We even got white supremacists trying to take our people out. Liberty movement's a little more high profile than I thought we were.
Yeah. I don't know, and I know other people who he's just rubbed the wrong way as well. So
yeah, whatever.
That's
why it's just so important to not get like so into like these celebritarians.
Oh, that's a good term.
Because
celebritarian.
Because like, I mean, it's it's really about the philosophy and the message. It's not about like what one person says. Like, yeah, there's certain people that are very good at articulating the message. And like they'll have their own little insights that they contribute that make you think about certain things in a different way, and that's great. But it's like, let's not start worshiping these people because eventually they're going to fuck up. Everybody fucks up. Everybody's human, and then some people end up fucking up more and just ending up being just complete assholes. Like our next topic, Mr. Stefan Molyneux.
Oh, is he next?
He can be. But yeah, it's just, once you start following these people and you start, instead of like listening to what they're saying or just like looking at the arguments that they're making, you start to just follow them as a person and just say like, well, this is what so-and-so had to say about this. And just by virtue of it being them, like you agree with them. We need to be careful not to do that. Yeah. Is what I'm trying to say. Because someone like Stefan Molyneux, who's pretty much gone off the deep end, in my opinion, as of late, he started off amazing. He was talking about voluntarism. He was talking about...
I got to say, though, Michael Dean called this. He's been ragging on Molyneux for like 4 years. And like,
who is Michael Dean?
Michael Dean. He does Freedom Fiends.
Okay.
And he also... he's kind of the original punk rock libertarian. Like, I think before I started Punk Rock Libertarians, I found a old website that was like just a little rickety, like kind of jacked
like a
up.
blog
It was called like Libertarian Punk, I believe, and I think that was his website back in the day. Yeah, and I mean it's cool. I've always liked Michael Dean. I got to meet him at Porkfest. I think he's a really awesome dude. Mm-hmm. And but yeah, I mean I got to give him props though. He's definitely called the Molyneux thing. And
well, there's always been something
he's been
creepy
screaming
about
at it
Molyneux
for 4 years, and I've always thought highly of Michael Dean. And
creepy Molyneux.
Yeah, but I mean, more and more people are agreeing with him now. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, like I said, he started off great, like talking about, voluntarism basically, and the problems with spanking, and why is that funny?
Just if anybody who doesn't know about that, how horrible, how weird it's gonna sound.
Well, I mean, he criticizes spanking because it's it's aggression on small children.
Yeah,
although it's like this thing that everybody just seems to like accept as like, oh, that's how you're supposed to discipline your child.
I don't know. My parents did it. I think I turned out fine.
That's what everyone says.
You think so? Yeah. I mean, maybe it's continuing the cycle of abuse.
It's okay. No, I agree with parents.
But see, your response is what everybody says. Everybody says like, oh well, I turned out fine. It's like that's number one, that's besides the point, and number two, we can argue about whether you turned out fine or not.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you housebreak your dog? When he pees in the floor.
But he's not a fucking...
No.
Your child is not a dog, though. Your child is...
But think about it. Do you do that, though? No.
To a dog?
Bad.
Yeah,
no.
Because that's a dog, dude. A dog's brain is different than a fucking human brain.
I think libertarians value life same on all levels, man.
Yeah, well... Okay.
Well, I'm not all about kicking your dog or hitting your dog, but you can certainly
I think that's aggressive.
Discipline your dog.
Yeah, I mean, maybe what you're doing is you're teaching your child at a very young age that violence is a way to solve problems.
I don't think that's treating. I don't think that at all.
I mean, maybe violence should just be unacceptable. Period.
Unless it's
Maybe.
in defense of your property and self.
Maybe. I mean, I'm just saying. Possibly, there's better
there's
ways.
also-
there's better ways.
on top
less
of the
damaging
philosophical-
ways to discipline children.
Yeah, and on top of the philosophical, there's definitely scientific evidence that shows that it does negatively affect
I'm
children.
not talking like about beating the shit out of your kids. I'm
But
not
even
for
just
abusing your
spanking.
child.
I got you, man, and it's something where, honestly, man,
I was not beat as a kid. I mean, I was disciplined whenever I was piece of shit.
I mean, dude. I mean, I was hit when I was a kid. I was very scared. That's part of the reason why I moved out of my parents' house and moved in with my grandmother when I was 12 years old. So I mean, and I don't think that I had the worst home situation of anybody that I knew, but and it definitely wasn't the best as far as. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of personal for me to even talk about on here in front of having a lot of people listen, but I've decided that I don't want to do that with my child.
Good for you, man.
I just think there's probably just better ways to do it.
Yeah, just talking.
Yep.
Just teaching. But so yeah, back to.
I think it's gonna take a little while for people to evolve to that, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something where people get really upset if you talk about spanking around them. Like you kind of just got a little upset. I mean, people get really defensive. Well, my parents spanked me, and
no, you know what I
mean?
what I don't agree with, though. I don't agree with allowing anyone else to discipline your child. I don't agree with that either.
Well, that's fair.
I don't agree. I mean, do not agree with that.
Well, don't send your kid to public schools because that's what's going to happen.
To public schools.
Yeah.
Private schools.
Yeah, private schools. I mean,
when you say discipline, are you saying physical discipline?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a discipline I mean.
But I mean, there shouldn't be anybody yelling at your kids either.
No, I don't think there should be people doing that either. I think it's less likely for your child to get yelled at in a public school, though. Private school,
dude.
Private school.
I'm sure you got yelled at all the time in public school.
Oh, I went to private school.
Oh.
And
Bertman, I'm sure you got yelled at by a teacher.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
we've all gotten yelled at.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But the thing is, I never got yelled at because I didn't deserve it. I'd say some dumb shit in class and get yelled at. It was never because I didn't
my argument would
deserve
just
it.
be that it's not that you deserve it. It's that you're a child and your brain isn't fully formed and you need to learn. You need to learn how to behave, but you don't need to learn how to behave by having someone belittle you or berate you or scream at you or hit you.
Yeah.
There's other ways to teach that are more scientifically proven, even to be more productive.
I know, but if I'm acting, if somebody's going to act out, they need to get knocked down. If you're teaching a class and somebody blurts something out and tries to act like a dumbass, you'd be like, all right, you think you're funny? You shut up and sit down. Oh, my child's been abused. No, I don't mean like that. I mean, if you're getting told to shut up and sit down because you're acting out, you're acting like a dumbass.
Yeah.
I don't think is anything verbally
I'm
wrong.
not saying we should just let kids do whatever they want. I'm just saying there's other ways to discipline a child or teach a child other than hitting them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm pretty much not down with the physical thing. If I had kids, I wouldn't spank.
Good.
I mean, and it's not just because I wouldn't spank because it's going to hurt them. It's I think it would have a very negative effect on me.
Well,
that's just me. I don't want to hit I don't want to hit a child.
Like I said, coming up the way that I came up, where there was belt spanking and other stuff, it was I think the scariest thing was being hit out of anger, And I think for years I was under the opinion where it's okay, well, spanking's okay as long as you're not doing it out of anger. If you calm down and you're not doing it to relieve your anger,
You're just doing like this is
you're just doing it out of
punishment.
discipline and love to the point where you don't even want to do it because you don't want to hurt your child, but you're doing it to discipline.
Yeah.
And
I agree with that.
And I'm still more accepting of that than, of course, the doing it out of anger. I think that's going to be the most traumatizing thing. But
I never got that.
But like I've just gotten to the point where I just believe that there are just better ways of doing it than of disciplining than violence.
Sure.
So that's why I'm with that.
So back to Molyneux.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he had some great things starting off, but then he always kind of had some weird shit, like with his like defooing thing, which is basically like he would sort of convince people, convince like children or like young people to sort of like leave their families if they were being abused. But the way he described abuse was like this very broad thing, which, I mean, yeah, if you're being abused, like, you shouldn't be around people that are abusing you, for sure. But then he'd sort of like convince people that they were being abused.
Like how?
I mean, I can't think
How
of...
are we talking about?
Like, well, I mean, I guess like spank. Like if you were like spanked as a child, like
you should leave.
Well, you should leave. You should leave your. You should like stop talking to your parents unless they. I guess there was a way of reconciling, but if they refuse to reconcile, then you should leave them. Which, I mean, maybe you can make that argument, but it just seemed to be like a very culty thing to do, to like be encouraging people to like, because that's what cults do. It's like, oh, you need to like leave your family. They don't understand you. Come join me. Like, I'll lead you to the fucking promised land. Like, it was very weird. Yeah. I mean, there might have been a more of a logical basis to it than like the traditional cult thing.
Are you a 20-year-old girl who's living at home with her parents who, has a job and there's no problems at home? Everybody's having Did you get spanked once when you were a kid?
Right.
Oh, really? You should leave. Your parents are toxic and they're terrible for you.
Kind of like that, Which,
they hold you for
so
ransom.
it was a little weird, but I kind of like understood what he was saying with it, and like it didn't at the time seem that egregious, but I've heard some horror stories in the since then, but you can look those
about
up.
What, people acting on what he said?
Yeah, I mean, I think he even like some kid like almost like committed suicide over something like that.
Isn't that like a mind crime? Isn't that like
a mind crime?
He didn't tell anyone. He just said, you should do this, you should do this. He didn't actually force anyone to do it. They had to do it.
I'm not saying he needs to be thrown in jail, but I'm saying, like, you're kind of responsible if you convince somebody to do something. Like, you have a degree of responsibility if, like, if you come to me, you're like, dude, man, I'm, like, feeling really depressed. I'm like, dude, well, then you should just fucking slit your wrist right now. Like, just end it. Like, yeah, technically speaking, like, I didn't slit your wrist for you.
But I mean, like, you're talking like if you're in the. Like, to me, that sounds like if you're in the same room. I'm like, if you're on the radio and you're like, you know what, everybody should off themselves the day after.
I mean, wasn't Molyneux like? I was pretty sure at some point that he was against voting. Period.
Oh yeah, well
and
we'll get to that.
When Ron Paul was running, he didn't talk about not Ron Paul nearly as much as he talked about Donald Trump.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it would bother me how much he didn't talk about Ron Paul.
Right. So that's what I'm sort of getting to, is like now he's sort of gotten onto this thing where he's like 100% pro Trump. He's gonna vote for Trump. After like you said,
vote? He's Canadian.
Is he Canadian?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard it. Okay, but he was endorsing. I guess he was endorsing Trump, like telling people to go vote for Trump. He
talks about Trump every day. Like it seems like half the videos he puts out a week.
But I think when he first started talking about Trump he was trying to frame it in a way where
I think he's trying to get some fucking validation among the right. That's what I think he's trying to do.
He's trying to get followers. That's all. He's trying to do.
I mean, it's.
I don't even think he fucking supports Trump. To be honest,
I don't know, man. I think he's
really good.
I think he's crazy. I legitimately think he's kind of gone crazy. Because I mean, he's talking to, not only is he fine. I'm not going to say you're crazy for supporting Trump per se, but then he gets into like all this stuff with like race and IQ, and just talking about how like the reason why like the Iraq War failed is because people in the Middle East just don't have a high enough IQ to accept democracy.
I didn't.
Like he started saying shit like that, and it's like,
what the fuck is this?
It's like, what? And like he's like bringing up all these studies and like trying to make it sound scientific, but these are studies that have been debunked routinely since like the 80s, and he's like rehashing them, and like he's like, it's not fair to call it eugenics, but then he like has some other name that he calls it, like I think it's called like race realism. It's like this whole weird
that doesn't sound like something you'd stumble upon, like, you know, on
no,
a
I
white
mean
power
he's definitely
website whatsoever. Does
he's
it?
really going after like the core of like the alt-right. You know, like that's what he's doing because he sees, you know, he's like he doesn't have a real job. He just makes YouTube videos and talks about philosophy. And, you know, it doesn't really pay the bills.
Does he have a fucking degree in philosophy?
I mean, honestly,
dude, I
mean, look, it's
I'd call it a real job, man. The guy does produce a lot of content, and he comes out with consistently every day.
Yeah,
And,
but he
you know,
doesn't. He doesn't.
But does he?
But
Have
he like
any, does he have any
refuses.
philosophical credentials, though?
Okay, maybe it was harsh to say
I'd
not a
say
real job.
he has plenty of credentials. I would say. I'd say I just don't agree with him all the time.
No, I mean, like, no. I'm asking, like, does he have any like formal education at all?
I mean, whatever he has. I mean, I think the man's well read. I mean, like I said, I mean, I don't agree with him all the
The
time.
formal education thing, I don't think is that relevant.
I mean,
I'm just wondering
because I mean, if formal education is like learning about Marxism, like that's formal philosophical.
No, I'm
education.
just saying, like, does he have any type of education outside of his own self-education?
I don't know. What are you getting at? What's your point?
I'm just wondering if maybe his views have changed because of his formal education.
I mean, everything I talk about on this podcast was through my own self-education. I didn't learn about libertarianism in public school or college.
I'm just wondering if somebody literally just organically discovered this type of movement and became an expert in it. You know, in progressing it, you know, organically, rather than did they start one place and end up here? Did someone discover it themselves? Like
discover what?
Like if they had no formal education about philosophy or anything, and like when they just became like, you know, whatever certain age and, you know, got interested in politics or something, decided they were going to pick up a book and it was libertarianism.
Okay.
It was some type of philosophy.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like, did he discover this movement organically, or was he led to it? You know what I mean? Like, does he have any background in economics or?
yeah, I'm actually reading about him right now on a little website called Wikipedia, Joshua.
Okay.
And apparently he after attending the Glendon College of York University, where he was an actor at Theatre Glendon and a member of the Debating Society. So he was a debater.
Okay.
He attended the National Theatre School of Canada in Montreal. Molyneux received a BA in history from McGill University in 1991 and an MA in history from University of Toronto in 1993. So, you know, he's got some education. So
He's an act. I mean, the majority of it was acting.
I mean,
Beginning at least.
Well, that's how he's such a good speaker, is because
he's got a master's in history too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not sure any of that's super
I don't know.
relevant.
I mean,
but
it might have been like the, you know, history and like the history aspect of when you had starting out school with, especially with theater, all the history that's built on that. He might have piqued his interest in history.
Okay.
And he's been doing Freedom on Radio since 2005. So it's been at it for a bit.
I think I started listening in 2010.
I think for me it was around 10 or 11.
But anyways, it's like it just seems like now he's like you said, Bergman. Like he like during the whole Ron Paul, 2008 campaign
he refused
or
to
2012
mention,
campaign.
He was never a topic in his discussion.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
he'd talk about Ron Paul, but he'd say, "Well, you can't work within the system." It's like, you know, trying to get into the mafia and taking it down from the inside. You can't do it. You know, all these analogies and all this criticism of Ron Paul, who was like, you know, the most pure libertarian person that's ever been in politics.
Ever.
And then now it's like Trump is like barely a libertarian on some things, and it's like Trump's completely thrown his support behind the guy.
I mean, how is Trump a libertarian on anything?
Well, I mean, if you talk about foreign policy.
I mean, but at the same time, I mean, isn't he talking about like foreign policy? Isn't he talking about a 45% Chinese tariff? What is it? 30%?
Well, foreign policy as far as like
Well, I mean, but
military foreign policy.
That's foreign policy.
Okay, I mean military.
I was waiting to say something about.
I'm saying Okay, I'm saying like when he says like let's stop being police from another world. That's a libertarian thing to say. That's what I mean by slightly I'm not saying he's a libertarian. Like clearly not. I'm just saying occasionally he will say something is libertarian.
That maybe slightly. I mean, I don't know if we want to own this guy at all. You know, we don't want to claim him as our own at all. You know.
Well, that's I don't want to claim him. I'm just saying
like,
words that are coming out of his mouth at times sound like libertarian. But
like I've seen articles about like
words that are coming out of my mouth.
Like I've seen articles recently floating around on Facebook, like Trump's getting the Ron Paul vote. No, I mean.
No, that's absurd. That's not.
Honestly,
that's not
honestly, I have
saying.
talked to a few Ron Paulers that are going to vote Trump. Trump has gained a bunch of momentum.
But they're not voting. They're not like, oh, he is. Aside from what's his name, who thinks he's Secret Ron Paul.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, I think Luke.
Secret Ron Paul.
Yeah, I mean, God bless Luke. You know, he's a really cool dude. I don't believe that Trump's Secret Ron Paul.
He made some good points about it, but I don't buy it.
People think that he's economically Secret Ron Paul.
No,
well, yeah, I mean, he's
not free trade at all.
Yeah,
though.
he's not free trade.
I know, but for some reason, I think that's the thing that's drawing people.
He's not free trade. He's a man who got rich off of crony capitalism.
Exactly. Just why I don't understand.
Yeah, the Chinese tariff thing. It's a little absurd.
There was that Michael Moore video.
Yeah,
that was floating
of him
around.
like supporting it.
He's like, I wasn't supporting Trump. No,
but now he's denying that he like.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that.
He's claiming that it was taken out of context. But you know what, though? He did make an argument of explaining why the poor got behind it.
Yeah.
It makes perfect fucking sense. If you're saying you're going to take these jobs and you're going to put them in another country and you say, all right, okay, fine, company, you want to do that? Cool. When they come in now, I'm going to charge you, X.
But you know what the funny thing is, though? The interesting thing is wages are beginning to rise in China. So, like, you're gonna start seeing less and less of these sweatshop things and like less and less of outsourcing, just because of that dirty little word called capitalism.
Yep.
So we don't need to fucking have tariffs. We don't need to like force businesses to not take advantage of like lower costs.
And we don't need roads.
And we certainly don't fucking need roads.
So roads.
Yeah. So I think that's about it for this week, guys.
Cool.
And until next time, live free
or die.
I don't.
Statism split break the blood that is shed, drenching the flags of the tax bombs in red. Was its way of view at the expense of the many, sold to the gods and the machine. You can't justify killing by economic gain. For God, country, and democracy, you can put freedom in gunpoint in a foreign land. You support the troops, then bring them home. I believe that you will do the best for you. And I believe that we have the power, I hate the state, and I know I'm a slave. We can make the break the power. Society owes individuals nothing more than non-interference with natural rights. Once a virtuous person fully comprehends the non-aggression principle, the violence of the state becomes obsolete.